Hello, and welcome to Hello Sister, a Vampire Diaries podcast with a magical twist.
We're your hosts, Christina Rosso-Schneider
and Brenna Dinon. All right, we are back. You know what time it is. It's our Spoilersode.
Spoiler snack.
Spoiler snack. We're going to just get right to it and give us a little quick and dirty summary of our episode this week. Episode 21, Isobel. Christina, take it away.
Okay. The town gets ready for Founders Day, and the high school students are working on floats for the parade. Caroline envisions a Gone with the Wind vibe, and Tyler and Matt are assigned to work on the history department's Battle of Willow Creek float. Tyler tries to check in with Matt and make amends, but he's not having it.
Isobel tells Rick she wants him to set up a meeting between her and Elena. He refuses at first, but she convinces him via brute force and threatens to kill innocent people, and also meeting at the Mystic Grill.
Oh my God. Isobel and Elena have a sit down at the Mystic Grill that is anything but a heartfelt reunion between birth mother and daughter. Isobel wants Elena to get the Gilbert device from Damon. The meeting ends with Elena in tears. Bonnie happens to be in the grill then and sees Elena crying, but she doesn't go to her because Stefan is there. Later in the episode, Isobel kidnaps Jeremy to force Elena/Damon to give her the device. Uncle John also gets beat up by Isobel and her minions, and Isobel takes his ring.
Later, Bonnie goes to Elena's house to make up, and Elena tells her about meeting her birth mom. Bonnie ends up helping Elena and the Salvatore brothers and realizes via Emily Bennett's spellbook that the device is actually a weapon against vampires. Elena has an idea for Bonnie to dispel it before they give it to Isobel. Bonnie agrees to do this, but at the end of the episode, she reveals to a clueless Caroline that she lied about it.
While Elena hands over the Dispel device to Isobel, Isobel drops an unsurprising bomb on Elena that Damon is also in love with her after questioning her relationship with Stefan and the brothers in general.
At the end of the episode, Stefan confronts Damon about Elena and how history will not be repeating itself. Damon reveals to Stefan that he's figured out that Uncle John is Elena's biological father.
Before Isobel leaves town, she tracks down Rick to say goodbye and tells him she loved him and she needed to be a vampire, but she regrets what she gave up, meaning him. She compels him to forget this conversation and to move on from her.
We get confirmation in the following scene when we witness a call between John and Isobel. A phone call. She returns his ring to him and the device, saying she wants the Salvatore brothers killed alongside the Tomb Vamps because she doesn't want this life for her daughter.
All right.
Woo!
My voice is going. We're tired. It's late. So let's get into some spoilers.
Let's do it.
All right, so this isn't the last time we'll see Isobel. We'll hear about her through season 2 before seeing her again. We don't see her actually until I think like halfway through season 2, but she'll be mentioned throughout it. And so when we see her again, she will namely be there to cause drama with Jenna, which sad face.
Is she the one that orchestrates?
Because she just like pops up, and then Elena and Rick have to explain to Jenna why Isobel's there and alive. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. But then she dies pretty soon after that. She kills herself, taking off her daylight necklace after Klaus tells her her work is done.
What do we remember what the work is exactly? Or is it just like, what is she doing? What errand does she have from Klaus?
Well, I know it has something to do with Elena, but I know whatever she's doing on her end is trying to protect Elena from Klaus. Like, that's actually what she and John, their bigger game plan is, even probably where we are in season 1.
Okay, so their wider thing is trying to protect Elena from Klaus and what Klaus's plans are, but
because they would already know she's the doppelganger.
Right.
Because they know Catherine.
Sure. So then she was compelled by Klaus for something, and that's why she...
Yeah, but I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember.
Maybe she, like, delivers Catherine or something.
I feel like she has to deliver something.
Maybe she double-crosses Catherine.
She's got to do something,
because there is the whole Katarina episode, and we don't see Klaus, and, like, there's the whole, like, Klaus is put in Rick's body.
I remember this.
I hate that. And his
so
fucking
weird.
like bad Russian accent. Elena. Oh, he was like, Katerina. And you're
Katerina
like,
Petrova.
you're like, what is happening?
Was it Russian or is it like East? Well, I guess that's Russian is Eastern European, but like Katerina Petrova.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. That's Italian.
I mean, which we will as we get
I
more
can't.
into the originals. Like every original family member has a different
I
accent.
can't wait to try to do accent
It
corner
makes-
where we just try to do
It makes
different
no
ideas.
sense. Like, why are some of them American and some of them are British?
And some of them are like Rebecca.
Right. Some of them are posh. And then, like, we won't get to Elijah for a minute, but that actor in real life is from like Australia or New Zealand, but he has like a weird affect in how he talks.
Is it
That
Rebecca
it's like
also? I mean, the actress that plays Rebecca is Australian. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Why is her name escaping me right now?
Claire Holt.
Yeah.
So Daniel Gillies is Canadian-born New Zealand actor, which maybe is why his voice is weird, but he doesn't actually sound like that in real life. She's an Australian-American actress, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think she does a pretty good job with her British accent, but it's just like confusing. Like, I like the way that Elijah speaks. Like, he has a very specific affect, but it doesn't make sense with anyone else in their family. And you won't get to Freya. This is not really a spoiler for the originals for you, but you won't get to their sister Freya for a long time, and she's American.
Don't they have another one?
There's
How
like,
many are there?
I think there were originally 7,
Because there's
but they did
what's
not.
the like shitty kid, the boy, the other boy kid.
Cole.
Cole, that was it.
And there's Finn.
Are they just fucking Peaky
There's-
Blinders? Jesus Christ.
There's Finn, Cole, Freya, Rebecca, Klaus, Elijah. And then they had a brother who died, which is what made their mom want them to be immortal. So I think there were 7 originally.
Okay. Well, I can't wait till we get to learn
We'll get
more
there.
about them.
We'll get there eventually.
Okay. So, next little talking point here. Isobel tells Elena that as long as she has a Salvatore brother on each arm, she's doomed. And Isobel isn't exactly wrong. The Salvatore brothers, coming back to Mystic Falls, bring about all kinds of chaos, including the release of the Tomb Vampires, Klaus in the originals, Elena's transition into a vampire, Kai being released from the prison world, which leads to Elena's sleeping spell, not to mention what it puts her friends and family through. Of course, she is a doppelganger, so Stefan is drawn to her and Klaus is looking for her, but how might things have shifted for Elena had Stefan and Damon never come to town? I think this is such a good question. Oftentimes, since Christina has seen the show more recently than I have.
And seen the originals.
And has also seen actually the originals and has more information about this entire universe in general.
I was right, by the way, about the number of Michelsons.
I love that. I had no doubt that you knew exactly how many because you are on the money with those things. But this question of like, what would have happened if they just like didn't come? I mean, I think it would have spared a lot. I'm guessing that the Isobel and John stuff, I mean, other than the Tomb Vampires not being released, that wouldn't be a problem, which honestly better for everybody if I'm being honest.
Right. Like there's certain things obviously with like that she's a doppelganger and Stefan's a doppelganger and the class of it all. Like some of that stuff might still have unfolded in some capacity.
Sure.
But I do think that like there would have been no reason for the Tomb Vampires to be open. Like to get out. Would Elena have ever become a vampire? Kai being released or anyone being released from the prison ward, anyone getting trapped in the prison world. Like, I feel like so much of the show would not have happened if these broyos stayed out of Mystic Falls.
That's fair.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only plausible thing that could potentially happen is whatever Isobel and Uncle Daddy John were trying to do to protect Elena from Klaus, because that wouldn't have negated any of the brothers being there or not wouldn't have negated Klaus's need for her for what his agenda was.
But they wouldn't have needed to be in town at this point.
Right. So there's a lot that could have changed.
And like, you know, is her life for the better with them in it? I mean, like we talked about in the Mystic Falls episode, we were like, you had the question of what is like, how is Elena benefiting the community? If anything, she's like consorting with vampires that are like tearing the town apart. And I think it goes both ways. I think it's actually like a mutually destructive relationship.
Mutually assured destruction.
All right. We wish it wasn't so, but we're not quite done with the tomb vampires. A handful of randos will return in episode 22 to seek revenge on the founding families during the Founders' Day fireworks display. Uncle Daddy John will use the Gilbert device to put them down, and a few other characters will be in danger because of it, namely Damon. And we've talked about this in previous spoilersodes.
Well, now having watched the episode and can actually speak knowledgeably on this.
Great.
This is wild work from the show.
Wild.
Like, to leave out the tomb vampire plot for several episodes, like after basically they like Rick and Damon go in and like bust up the vampire nest, because they're not really a thing beyond that. Like, yeah, Pearl's still around, Harper's still there, Anna's still around, but like after that episode, may as well not be there.
Right, like it's just such a weird. I understand they need like an antagonist for that moment.
They should have had them, like, and I'll talk about this next week, like, on the main pod, but, like, sorry, I'm sticking to the chair. Because it's warm in here, as it usually is, because we don't have central air. But I just, like, narratively, and I think, like, talking about it as writers, and I do really want to give more space to this, so I want to still talk about it here. I won't repeat whatever, like, in our episode tomorrow, but a week from now for you. But
we're recording back.
But we are recording tomorrow. But like from a storytelling perspective, I really don't think that the tomb vampires were already like not really working in general, but like there were so many opportunities for them to be tweaked in a way to like make them work that weren't, and I'm not like, I'm just being like just generally critical. I know writing's a very hard thing. We both are writers. We understand it's a very hard thing to do. I'm sure with like studios up your butt and all that other shit, it's like a lot. It's very complicated. I understand that and respect that. I just think that it's like just weird to me that they like just drop the plot line only to like just then like just superimpose it back into the final episode. It just feels so like now as like an adult like writer, aspiring author, you're an author, thinking about it from a storytelling perspective, like, and not as like a teen just watching the show kind of just, as a teenager. It really feels weird, right? Like, and I think that's why we keep bumping up against it, because it just feels so shoehorned into the tapestry that is everything else in the show. I don't know. What do you think?
Fuck the tomb vampires. No, like, I totally agree with you. It does feel, as a writing teacher, I genuinely would be like, no, you need to rewrite all of this, right? Like, as someone who is in the middle of going through very detailed book edits, where I am getting called out on the smallest inconsistency.
Yeah.
Or the smallest thing that's not as clear as it could be, which is great. Like, I want that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
When you think that TV shows happen with so many writers in a space.
Yeah.
And And I understand, like, they are, especially in these times with so many episodes, they're really writing episode to episode.
Right.
But we've seen this a few times this season where we're like, you're not following through on an arc. Like, why did that get mentioned and then you changed it? Or we just don't hear about it, right? And, like, genuinely, when I was writing the notes for this episode and hadn't started the season finale, I was like, the 2 vampires are gone, right? Like, what is the point of this? And then in the next episode, I genuinely kept like pausing the screen to count them because I'm like, how are there that many left? It just like doesn't, it just like, genuinely doesn't make any sense. And I think there were other ways to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. And I just feel like if Uncle John was in the know as much as he is, he could have found the nest sooner.
Right.
And then just like set the house on fire.
Right. There were a lot of things that could have taken place.
He does care about human life. So like maybe Miss Gibbons would have survived. Probably not. But
yeah, it's just, that's, I think, the biggest, this is like the biggest hill I'll die on, I guess, for season 1 in terms of just plot points. And I don't know. It's interesting to think about. And like, of course, we're watching the show much more closely than like I've ever watched.
I think anyone intended us to.
Than I ever have watched like any TV show. Like, right. Like we really are just taking such a close look at it. And I think even through the process of, and we'll probably talk about this more again on air tomorrow, like, you know, in our final episode, but like, I feel like I've learned a lot about like the writing process through this and just seeing how that happens. And yeah, like they, like back when network television was as it was, like they did not have a lot of time. So yeah, that makes sense to me that they don't. And here's actually what my like kind of hot take is, and that I think is important to think about. And I'm curious to know what you think. One thing I think sometimes, especially network television around this time, and we talked about it in other either spoilersodes or it had to have been in a spoilersode because I think it was talking about future stuff. But like, I think like trying to service fans is actually a bad thing.
I agree.
Like I actually think that's bad. Like I think that's bad storytelling. I think and what I mean by that is like, tell the story that needs to be told, or like as you as the like author, as you as the writer, like tell the story that needs to be told, and then like if people are don't let the external voices like sway how you think the short story should go, because I think oftentimes that is what like cheapens a story sometimes. I'm not saying that with like the Tomb Vampires, but I think,
but that is something that historically happened with the show,
right? Of
changing larger plot lines, to connect to what some audience members want. And I will not actually spoil it, even though we're in our spoilersode, I will not spoil how like the whole kind of final season of the originals goes. But one of the reasons that I love that show so much and I respect that show so much is that, and I told you this off camera earlier, that like if and when we get to the originals, I'm going to spend the whole time we're in season 5 crying. Probably just on camera, because that's how I experience it when I watch it. And I've actually never had anyone to talk to about the final season with. So like, I'm going to lose my mind, and my emotions. And even though I was like upset how certain things went, from a writing standpoint and from a plot standpoint and from character arc, I was like, oh, none of this could have gone any other way. And I mean, yes, we are writers. I literally teach writing. Like, so we think about these things maybe more than the average person. Sure. But like, I always want the end of something or the conclusion of a situation to be surprising and interesting, but to also always feel justified. And to always feel like, oh, they always knew that. And, you know, we've referenced things like Julie Plex saying like Caroline and Stefan were always endgame, and we're like, that's not actually true, because in the books and then originally you were planning on Stelena, but then the audience really wanted Delena. I guess that's how we say that. Delena.
Delena.
Dumb. And I think it should be Eamon. I don't know. I'll work on that. I'm sure someone else has a different name for them. But you're like, no, that, like, if you actually had thought about that from the beginning, things would be different.
Yeah.
And, like, some things I like that they, like, the Klaus and Caroline of it all is actually 100% because of fans.
Right.
So that's, like, one aspect where I'm really glad they listen to fans, because we wouldn't have those storylines at all.
Yeah. That's so true. And I think that, yeah, there's causes
but
for
they
and
still
against.
actively choose to never give the audience what they want.
No.
And I think that's an interesting choice, and it's frustrating.
It is.
But it actually...
That sounded very Caroline of you.
I mean, we are spiritually aged. It is really frustrating, but also, like, it makes you keep tuning in.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, if you could do that there, why couldn't you have done that with certain other things? So I think in general, you should write the story that needs to be told, regardless, that will be satisfying as a whole, based off of what you built, more so than what individual people or groups of people want.
I agree. Wholly agree. And, like, to that end, I think that, like, and kind of the reason why I brought up this idea, and I love that we're talking about this. And I mean, hey, listen, people, whoever's listening to this, I know our Spoilersodes are not historically as popular as our regular episodes, but this is, like, a conversation that's kind of fun to talk about, because it does let us talk a little bit more about writing and just, like, what we understand of story, which we don't always get into so much in our regular episodes because we're just doing a lot of other things. But I think the reason why I brought that up is because I wonder if in an earlier version or idea that they had, the showrunners had for season 1, is that the tomb vampires were, like, an existential threat. And I wonder if they weren't really working because they weren't just really working in the show. And I was talking to Dwight about this, and he's like, well, maybe it was, like, the teen drama of it all. Or maybe it was, like, from the studio. Like, maybe it was CW being like, well, we need the teens. Like, we need the more teen stuff.
Honestly, maybe there were just too many tomb vampires. Or maybe there should have been, like, 7.
Right. Like,
vampires.
And having them be, like, because, you know, like, we're going to get to this next episode, and it's like the fucking leader of the tomb vampires that are left doesn't even have a fucking name. Like, they don't even name him. But it's like, it would have been so much more powerful if they had just, like, kept that storyline, like, intentionally cutting away from, like, building a storyline, like, with Pearl, Anna tangentially related with those vampires that wasn't, like, shitty like Frederick. Like, I thought Frederick was such a shit ass character. Like, there could have been another way of, like, having them like woven in, and I wonder if that's why they, like, kind of, like, put the tomb vampires on ice in favor of doing other things to then come back to it at the end to, like, tie it up, because that was, like, their original plan was to have the tomb vampires be the big bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right. I like this discussion.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think our opinions on the tomb vampires aren't going to change.
No.
But I like to think about it. So I guess our last spoiler specifically that we came up with for this episode is that we have pretty much all of our characters in episode 21. And we will see anyone we're missing in the season 1 finale. And the only people I'm really thinking that we're missing is, like, we don't have Mrs. Lockwood. We don't have Sheriff Forbes. But we have, like, pretty much everyone else.
Full stack.
So characters like Bonnie, Caroline, Matt, and Tyler will become more regular characters in the following season with larger storylines and more screen time. We'll also see more of Jenna in season 2, which I'm very excited. And we'll get back to the Jenna and Rick relationship.
Thank goodness, because where's that been?
Yeah, we can talk about this more next week, but certain characters like Tyler and Caroline will be left very much in peril, alongside Jeremy, Uncle John, etc. At the end of the season 1 finale. But big things are going to start to happen for a couple of these characters, and they will become regulars. And I'm really excited for that because, I mean, Caroline's our girl. And Bonnie's our girl, so we need more of all of that. And while he is kind of the dick, I agree with Matt. Like, end of story, you're a dick. For most of season 1, I am intrigued to know more about Tyler. even if I didn't know where he goes. But then his character develop is actually really interesting and brings us a different kind of soup that we have currently.
I'm just so excited for the Tyler and like, I mean, it's Spoilersode.
Werewolves.
And I like really can't wait to like just expand the world, like the supernatural world that exists in TVD, because it makes it richer, it makes it fuller, and we're gonna have more witchy stuff from Bonnie. We're gonna have some werewolf stuff from Tyler.
We'll also get to see other witches in season 2,
which I cannot wait, because we only killed the one other witch that we knew, Bree. Rest in peace.
Love you, Bree.
We love you, Brie. How ending there? No, it's great, and I can't believe we're in our second to last Spoilersode.
I know, it's wild.
So, all right, well, we'll be right back at it next week to wrap up everything. So, until then, thank you so much for listening and watching. Hello, sister. Bye. Bye. Hello Sister is written, directed, and hosted by Christina Rosso-Schneider and Brenna Dinon. Graphic designs are by Alex Schneider. Music is written and produced by Dwight Evan Young. Sound design and video are recorded and produced by Dwight Evan Young and Brenna Dinon. Hello Sister podcast is a Bad Day Media production.